If there's one thing this last week has taught me, it's better to have a gun and not need it than to need a gun and not have it. Welcome to Should You Watch This with the Popcorn Priest, a weekly podcast where movie enthusiasts, current and ex-movie theater projectionists, new and old friends take the time to talk about a movie that we just watched and answer that very question, should or shouldn't you watch this? Stealing, cheating, killing. Who said romance is dead?
Cheating?
From the director of Top Gun, Beverly Hills Cop 2, comes a movie that will leave you breathless. Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken, in a Tony Scott film that critics are calling a Bonnie and Clyde.
Hell yeah, dude.
True romance. Rated R.
I bet Tarantino was so mad he couldn't direct it too.
Dude, that's
so sick.
Trailer was so sick, dude.
That's one of the better 90s trailers I've heard right there.
When did this movie come out?
93.
Yeah. Well, let me get the intro here. I need to introduce it.
Yeah. Well, you shouldn't have played such a banger. So
They're going to see the title when they click on the podcast.
I know. Joining me today is recurring guest. That's not my cocaine tribe, and actually that is my cocaine Cole.
I'd have so much energy to get work done.
Welcome back. Glad you guys have come back to the show. I said it on the Thing podcast, and I'll say it again. If Cole would stop traveling, then we could have you guys on the show more.
Blame Biden's economy.
that's right.
Oh my God.
Just kidding.
Stop it. Okay, well, welcome back.
Because you have a job, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, you can take it both ways. Either the economy is good or bad. Who knows? See, we're being an apolitical podcast.
I'm a glass half full type of guy, so I'm going to say the economy is getting good.
So you're going to get another job?
Oh man, I have so many freaking jobs. It's not. I don't want to talk about it.
Biden's economy.
The description for this one: in Detroit, a pop culture nerd steals cocaine from his new wife's pimp and tries to sell it in Hollywood, prompting the mobsters who own the drugs to pursue the couple. I don't really like that description.
That's what happens.
I know, but I don't think you should tell all that right there.
Yeah.
Maybe
Just saying it's a love story with crime in it. It's good.
I mean, the majority of that unfolds within the first half an hour. So, I mean, it's not giving away too much.
It's a true crime romance. That's all you need to...
True crime romance. There we go. Well, it's not true, though. The crime's not true, as far as we know.
Fictional crime romance.
It's
I think we would have heard about something like that.
it happened in the movie, so it's true to the movie.
Yeah, it's true. And
Fictional romance.
All right.
yeah,
Directed by the venerable and R.I.P. Tony Scott.
that's right.
Gone too soon.
It does it feel like a Tony Scott movie?
It's
does.
before his style changed, like visually, to like.
Really?
I mean, I would say that it feels like one of his early. It doesn't feel like the later ones, which I mean, I associate those all with like Man on Fire.
Oh, yeah. Once he got
the real like.
Once he got his digital cameras and
Yeah, like where he's doing all the crazy edits
or
and like the real visuals.
What's the Unstoppable?
Deja Vu does it too.
Deja Vu.
Which I mean, I like all those, but like this is more of his like Top Gun, like really like colorful, like sunsets and
really
like,
harsh and brutal in your face.
Yeah, like I mean, so again, Tony Scott's he's good with the visuals. He always has been.
I like Tony Scott. I'll tell you that much.
It's like I don't like Top Gun, but I mean, I'm not going to argue that first movie doesn't like have a look to it. It certainly does.
I also don't like Top Gun. The first one. The second one is a banger.
Yeah, and that one's kind of boring visually in comparison.
The second
one?
one?
It's a better movie.
Well,
It's got better
aerial dogfights.
Yeah, that is
That's
definitely
the thing.
true. The dogfights in that first one. I mean,
You were to film
early, but man,
if you were to film Top Gun 1 in IMAX like they did with 2, Top Gun 1 would be just as good.
Fight like aerial scenes are so boring because
not
I
good.
mean, I guess they just didn't know how to record them right. I don't know.
Well, the first one, it's more about Kilmer and Cruise. And
Well, I know, but even then,
whereas
they have a whole.
the second one, they just said, screw it, let's just give them expensive.
When they
airplanes.
actually have to show like dogfighting at the end, you compare that to the way that they were able to capture it in that last one.
That's the power of the government propaganda right there. When the Navy,
Well, I
gets
know, but they
involved,
were
it's
working
like,
with them
hey,
before too. It's just technology
know.
wasn't there yet.
It's just funny.
Well, back to true crime romance.
Tony Scott.
Tony Scott.
Written by Quentin Tarantino and Roger Avery.
Oh, really? So the Pulp Fiction co-writer as well.
Correct. Top billed stars are Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken, Samuel L. Jackson, James Gandolfini, Chris Penn, Tom Sizemore, and Bronson Pinchot.
So, was this a stacked cast when it came out, or is it only one in retrospect?
The only reason why I say yes to that is because the trailer was spouting off all those names.
I think a lot of them were like kind of approaching the pinnacle of their career, and so I'm sure they were throwing a lot.
I mean, I don't think
they were known, but not
Yeah.
maybe like.
It's weird. He's like the star. Christian Slater's probably like the least of like as far as where his career went. It's like I wouldn't compare him to like Gary Oldman or James Gandolfini in terms of like.
No,
even Tom Sizemore, I would say, had.
But
like
he was bigger at the time.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a lot of movies he's been in, to be honest, other than this. So,
runtime of 1 hour and 59 minutes. Rated R. Genre on Rotten Tomatoes says crime drama, and IMDb says crime drama and romance.
I was gonna say, if the romance isn't in there, what are we doing?
Maybe they should have said true romance for the genre. Maybe. Or true crime romance.
It's not, but the crime's not true. But it could be true. But maybe that's enough.
We established that it's true to the film, and I will stand by that. Rating from, speaking of IMDb, the rating is 7.9 out of 10 from 241,000 reviews. Rotten Tomato gives us a 93% from 61 critics and 93% from 100,000 audience rating.
Although it's always weird with like older releases like on there.
Actually, it might be 96%.
Because you've got people self-selecting like to like whether they're going to have a review of it. I mean, I guess there's a few older like catalogs like Roger Ebert's like reviews way back when, but
yeah,
I don't like the Rotten Tomato score. They're all fake now at this point.
I also hate it. I hate it so much, but
Rotten Tomato.
But I mean, it is out there and they use it. So I mean,
I just like to look at it. I don't always.
I like that at a glance, like because it usually tells you if things went awry.
Correct.
Like more than anything else.
Well, and you also see sometimes there's like a division between, like a high division between the critic rating and the audience rating.
That's always funny too.
Where it's super low on
Five
critics.
Nights at Freddy's.
But like Madam Web, let's say. You glance at that and you're like, oh no, so the trailer that looked kind of weird, that bears out. That was from that movie.
Correct. Yeah. Well,
so it's useful for that.
At the time of this recording, you can stream this on the popular Pluto TV with ads, or you can just rent it from your preferred purveyor of digital media, like we did.
$3.60 on Amazon for the HD version.
$3.60. That's a weird number.
It was $3.59. I know it was.
Yeah, what happened to like $3.99 for HD? That used to be the standard. What happened?
SD and HD are the same now, but it was just a strange price. I'm not sure what the deal was.
Yeah, I didn't even stop to think that they would have taken away the standard.
Well, if you choose the highest tier of our Patreon account, you'll have access to the Popcorn Priest permanent collection. Go to patreon.com/Popcorn Priest to give me money. All right. You guys ready for the most beloved category? And should you watch this? Popcorn Reviews the Reviews.
Yeah, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
That's right.
All right. You guys like the Whiplash. What do you want to start with?
Positive.
Yeah, let's hear the positive.
All right. You guys are going to like these. I'm just going to tell you right now. The first 10 out of 10 comes from J.P. Summerfield. My favorite film of all time. I know this is the most unhelpful review, but if you can take anything from my single-minded judgment, it's my one and only cast of the die. Beat it. I dare you. What does that mean?
What?
Do you know what that means?
Cast of the Die?
I don't know what that means.
It's like it's a reference to like that Shakespeare play about Caesar. The die is cast.
Hamlet.
You've put all your cards on the
Beat
table.
it. I dare you.
You've placed,
it's like
you've placed your bet, basically.
You've rolled the dice.
You're waiting on your
And then
odds.
he's saying, like, tell me if there's another movie that's better than this. Is that what
Basically, like,
JP is saying?
I don't actually know. He may not have used it right.
Read it one more time.
I know this is the most unhelpful review, but if you can take anything from my single-minded judgment, it's my one and only cast of the die. Beat it. I dare you.
Oh, try and find a better film
That's
than
what I was
this. I
thinking.
dare you.
Okay, all
You're not going to find one.
All right, well, I put this on here because I didn't understand it, and I thought maybe you guys could help me, and you did.
Yeah.
So it worked.
Like, I bet you can't find a better film than this, is what he's saying.
All right. First 1 out of 10. A bad movie with excessive violence, says Gustav Lem. All the teenagers that collect guns are going to like this movie. But for me, it was pretty bad, boring, and too violent. Blood everywhere. I didn't enjoy it at all, this movie. I like that sentence. I didn't enjoy at all, this movie. I don't understand what's the big deal. Also, I didn't like any of the characters.
That's fair, I guess. You could not vibe with it.
He calls him...
They're all kind of bad people except Dennis Hopper.
He calls him Quarantino. Quarantino is not the best writer and likes blood too much. It's not a movie for everyone. I should add that has too many bullets and could have been done much better with less blood and violence. But is Quarantino. This also gives me...
I kind of like that as as shorthand for Quentin Tarantino.
I kind of do too. I'm going to start calling him Quarantino.
Quarantino, latest Quarantino film.
This also gives me an excuse to look for better movies and choose more carefully.
Fair enough. Learn what you like and what you don't like.
My advice, skip this movie and look for something better. It is a waste of time. 1 out of 10. Maybe English is not his first language.
Could be.
Could be. All right, next, 10 out of 10. Wow, watch this movie. Says, hey, presto, this is probably the greatest movie I've ever watched. And I've seen a lot of movies. I'm not a film reviewer, but felt compelled to review this one. Also, this film has a bit of an Elvis Kung Fu theme.
A bit?
And I hate Elvis and Kung Fu. Which is even more of a testament.
Why would you hate Kung Fu?
I don't know.
That's a weird thing to hate.
Quentin Tarantino at his finest. We all loved Pulp Fiction, but in my opinion, this film is far greater, with many exclamation points. The casting is phenomenal, the acting is superior, and the music just blows me away. When the film kicks in, Patricia Arquette is narrating the intro, and it's like poetry. This film will move you. This film has everything. It's funny, sad, dramatic, dark, twisted, and clever. I gave this movie a 10 out of 10. My favorite film being The Godfather. It should definitely be up there in the top 100 IMDb films. The Dennis Hopper, Christopher Walken part is a real treat.
It's awesome.
The scripting and acting is out of this world. In fact, there is something likable about all the characters in this movie, and I don't know how Tarantino does it. 10 out of 10.
A little too effusive.
I'm
not gonna follow him, but I'm glad he liked it.
That teenager was probably polishing his gun while he was watching that. That's probably what. His gun collection. He was immersing himself in that violent nature and just got a little too involved.
I agree.
That smile got too big.
All right, second 1 out of 10. I'm so mad at this movie, and I'm mad at my boyfriend. Says
now we're talking. Yes.
Does her boyfriend have a cocaine problem?
Yes. This is yes.
This is
the
what
idea.
We need.
Yes.
We need to appeal to
this
all.
This is like the opening of this movie, where he's trying to get that girl to go to the Kung Fu movies with him. Anyway, carry on.
This is great. This is the stupidest movie I've watched in years. I even got angry at my boyfriend for recommending it. 1 out of 10, and that's it.
Oh, that's good. That's the opening scene of this movie.
Correct.
This is the three-parter Kung Fu movie that woman was like, no.
She had to get home to put her curlers in before bedtime.
No.
All right. This movie is so awesome. Says smells like cheese. I was watching I Love the 90s on VH1. They mentioned True Romance, and this movie looked so cool. It has been stuck in my head. I went to my local Blockbuster, and guess what? They didn't have it.
How old is this?
That was a very sad moment for me because this movie just couldn't get out of my head. Then finally...
Local Blockbuster?
I know, crazy, right? I discovered another Blockbuster that carried it.
Two Blockbusters?
I loved True Romance. This movie has the biggest all-star cast I've ever seen in a while. Christian Slater, Christopher Walken, Brad Pitt, Dennis Hopper, Gary Oldman, etc. Amazing. They all had these cool parts that they made them theirs. The story is unforgettable. And the speech between Christopher Walken and Dennis Hopper, I will never forget it. That was one of the coolest speeches in cinematic history. I would highly recommend this movie to anyone. I don't know about that.
So when people say that about that scene, what are they referring to? Like,
I don't think we can get into it too much.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean,
I think it's just more.
It has a story purpose, but when they're saying like, "Oh, I love that," it's like, why?
I think because you don't know what's going to happen. You get
I don't know.
Walking.
It's a weird thing to say. It's like next time that a Sicilian person gives me guff.
Well, Smells Like Cheese. He finishes off his review by saying, "I'm going out to buy it right now." I'm not joking, folks. This is a terrific movie. Please, also, we should work on getting this in the top 250 on IMDb, 10 out of 10.
Also able to buy physical media in a store nearby. He's like you from a different
time.
Yeah, he's just, man out of time. This is a review from the past, screaming out towards the future.
I really want physical media, and
the market has decided too bad.
Yeah, I went to Best Buy the other day, and
they've gotten it. They're getting rid of them.
It was just a shelf that's empty, and I was sad.
Yep.
I had like a moment of silence in there. This lady's like, "Can I help you find something?" And I just turned to her and I said,
"Pay your respects."
Could you open up an empty Blu-ray case and put a candle in there in like remembrance of
I just told her, I said, No, you can't. All right, last 1 out of 10. You asked for it. Bleeds Tarantino, says Rockwell Cronenberg. Quentin Tarantino has long been one of, if not the person in the film industry that I loathe the most.
Yes, one of these people as well. Good. This is good stuff.
This one's long too. So
because we were talking about this before. The Tarantino just
people only credit this movie
pathological Tarantino haters who just can't. They
don't get the hype.
His existence just fuels rage.
Yeah, they hate him so much.
It's their fat. I mean, I don't know. It's like I don't doubt them. They seem to believe it.
Despite him not directing this one, I had always avoided it just because I didn't want to deal with another one of his shallow disasters in the script. If you're not going to do anything new, then you should at least do the old things in an interesting way. But that sure isn't the case here. The whole thing is a pathetically thin, old as bones story with Tarantino's trademark dialogue that so many people eat up, but I find to be disastrously artificial and awkward. No actors would be able to pull off the kind of absurd, unrealistic dialogue that he feeds them here. But a lot of the cast here feels like they aren't even trying to make it seem anything but awful. Really. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's like, I hate Tarantino so much, I refuse to acknowledge that anyone was good in this movie.
Correct.
There are no winners. The only losers are the audience, and we've all lost our mind.
I mean, you know what? If you don't like Tarantino, I think that's fine.
It's fine.
But there's something about him that just, it gets these people just I think maybe it's the fact that he's popular and that they're told that he's good, and then they're like,
and they see it and they're no. Some of the supporting players do all right in their brief screen times, but Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette are terrible.
Patricia.
Oh, what did I say?
You said Patricia.
Petition Arquette.
Petition. Sign the Petition Arquette are terrible. It doesn't help that they have thin, completely one-dimensional characters, and in Arquette's case, a totally inconsistent one.
What?
But they just make matters worse with some abysmal portrayals. This one was a real chore. A completely shallow, needless exercise with some scenes that go on so long I thought I had died and fallen into hell. 1 out of 10.
The horror.
These people are like,
I thought crazy. I was in a bad Japanese kung fu movie.
Those give me joy, and I like reading them. Any other comments on our reviews before we get into should or shouldn't you watch them?
I mean, I have some. I think that my comments referring to the reviews will be better served in the following section.
All right. Should or shouldn't you watch this? Okay, I have seen this before one time.
Mm-hmm. I think me too. I only saw it once as far as I know.
So I have 3 reasons. I need a couple more if you guys can help me out. So I'll give
why you should watch this?
Why or why not?
Oh, I can give you.
That's why it's called Should or Shouldn't You Watch This?
Gary Oldman, James Gandolfini, Christopher Walken.
The 30 seconds of Samuel L. Jackson, who makes
Gary Oldman's not even in it for very long.
Gary Oldman's in it for 2 scenes.
And the fact that he did not win 2 Best Supporting Actor Oscars for this very role is shameful.
I agree. So those are 2 great reasons. I have, if you like Tony Scott,
yes,
I guess this is for you, right?
Yes, like mid-career Tony Scott.
Yeah. And then 2, if you like Tarantino's writing, then I think this is for you.
Yes. If you don't, probably stay away, as that other person should have.
Correct. Like it's like, you know, if you hate sushi and you go into a sushi restaurant and you complain about it.
Yeah. It's like, what did you think it was going to be?
You're going to get hamburgers in here? Like, come on, man. I don't understand people's anger towards stuff when they know what it is.
Yeah, they know. Well, I mean, I think people just like to be mad. They love to be mad.
Well, stop being mad. Last reason, and then if you guys want to add any more, I like the ones you said, Taylor. If you are desensitized to violence and gore like Taylor and Cole, then this is for you.
That's right.
Right?
I think so. I mean, I don't... I think that the movies Tarantino has directed are more violent than this in terms of like what they show.
I agree.
Like Hateful Eight, for example, or I'm just thinking a lot of his recent ones. They go a lot further than
Kill
this
Bill.
does. Yeah, this cuts away from a lot of stuff, which I mean, maybe that's just like a technology constraint or budget constraint,
or a director choice.
Yeah, it could be that too. So it's like, I mean, it's not. I mean, there are like squibs, which is nice, you know.
We love squibs.
We do love squibs.
It's basically if you were to take Lethal Weapon and replace the dialogue with Quentin Tarantino dialogue is like actually what.
So like, shouldn't you watch this? Like the person saying this is a Tarantino script, absolutely. In fact, I think that it's probably, I don't know, this will be, I guess, maybe a mystery. Would it have been better or worse if Tarantino had directed it? I think people would give him much less of a pass on the protagonist in this being like a self-insert of himself.
Yeah.
Which I mean is definitely the vibe you get when him going to watch a three-parter kung fu movie and working in like a...
I think you would have got that no matter what. It wouldn't have mattered.
I don't know. I've not heard people complain about this in that sense, even though like watching it now, it seems more obvious to me that that's the basis of it.
Oh, you can definitely tell with the dialogue. Like just the first few scenes.
Because I mean, I guess I didn't know enough about Quentin Tarantino at the time when I first saw it.
Me too.
So maybe that's why it wasn't obvious to me. But like knowing that he worked in a video store for like several years, just watching like everything, and then the idea of this guy going to a three-part kung fu movie is so on the nose. It's so I don't know.
Coming to LA to make his way, baby.
Yeah, and all of the early all of the coming to Hollywood striving actor type stuff as well.
I agree.
Body Drop 2.
All right, well, let's get into by the numbers.
For God's sakes, just give me the damn number!
All right, if you already know this, don't say it, but what do you think the budget is?
20 million.
I want to say 30 because of all the stars.
12.5.
Nice.
Guess how much it made?
Not like 5.
2 million.
12.6.
Oh.
It was a flop.
Yeah, I knew it was considered
Horrible
a failure.
flop.
That's crazy.
That is crazy, right?
How's that a horrible flop?
I mean, because you have to do double is the general
At
rubric.
least double.
Yeah,
you're flying by the seat of your pants.
And that's just to break even. So, and they're not in the business. They're not a charity here.
And that's
They're
crazy
not creating
because
movies out of the goodness of their heart. They're here to make money.
Did Top Gun come after this or before this?
Before.
Yeah, because in the trailer he said from the director of Top Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think it would have.
It's a better movie than Top Gun. So, I mean, if there was any fairness in the world.
But then at the same time, you're entering that early 90s phase where violence is like the worst thing in the world, and there's families calling for the outlaw violence.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, everyone hated like
The Simpsons.
D&D, and
like, I don't
hated.
think Christian Slater's the most. It's interesting. It's like you wouldn't want someone too cool for this role.
No,
Which I mean, I don't. So it's kind of I don't know.
You want
I
somebody that
kinda
seems like a loner.
like if it were Tom Cruise, how much would that suck and be bad casting?
it would suck. 'Cause Christian Slater kind of gives off this vibe of like I'm not that smart.
He does. He kind of comes across as like a Tarantino nerd type. I mean,
He's not that smart. But
So
he's
I don't
also-
know if it's like maybe just good casting or if he was actually just really good at the role or knew how to do it.
I
but
like him. I like Christian
I
Slater.
don't know. Something about him bothers me. It's his eyes.
And that's the reason why
His eyes, I
watching this
think.
forever. He just kind of seems weaselly.
Yeah.
Like he belongs in the sewers. Like he snuck out and he's kind of exploring the world.
Yeah.
And
He's like a bully kid on like a TV show or something.
If he got covered in mutant ooze, he'd become Splinter down in the sewers, training turtles how to do kung fu.
I don't know. Okay. I'll accept all of those things.
It's kind of a strange leading man like energy to him. Like he seems like he doesn't want to be there. Like he's kind of nervous being on film, which kind of fits the character.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I think it all works, and
Yeah.
maybe that's the problem with it is that he's not cool.
He doesn't seem to have that confidence, but there's a few scenes where he really he sells the role as wanting to root for this guy and like come out on top in the end.
I mean, can you think of anyone else that could?
That's the thing.
This?
It's like
I can't.
you don't really want a good like too good of a leading man. They can't be too cool. That's
Yeah.
a problem with like that would work against the story.
I agree.
See, like if it was like if you reversed it all of a sudden and you had Val Kilmer talking to his mentor who was a dead pop star, it wouldn't fit at all because you'd have somebody that seems too cool or confident or somebody that could like talk his way out of it
Yeah,
and have to
it's
start
like-
shooting.
So maybe he's just better at playing kind of a not as confident, kind of a more awkward guy. I don't know.
There you go. Well, I have only 3 by the numbers other than the box office haul. The motel room fight scene between Patricia Arquette and Virgil, James Gandolfini's character, took 5 days to shoot.
It goes on a long time, longer than I remember.
And I read, I don't know if I have this in next week's trivia, but they cut out so much from it too because
I
it
can
was
see that.
super violent. Anyway, 5 days. In the trivia section of the DVD special features, reports that Quentin Tarantino sold this script for, what do you think?
It was 400,000.
500,000. I'm gonna.
$10,000.
Wow.
That's
With this
Wow.
money, he purchased the red Chevy Chevelle convertible that Vincent Vega drives in Pulp Fiction.
So is this before Reservoir Dogs or after?
This is
Before.
the same time. So he sold this screenplay to make Reservoir Dogs because at the time he wanted to do both, but Weinstein told him that you can only pick one, and so he picked Reservoir Dogs because I think he had put more effort into that, or he was wanting that to be his first one, and then True Romance.
I mean, I would just
So
say
Tony Scott
Reservoir
took over
Dogs
for
would
this.
be easier for a first time because it's like
You're just-
not very many locations. So.
You're just
Yeah.
in the warehouse.
Whereas
I think
this is a lot of locations actually.
I think that's on purpose.
yeah.
probably.
Oh no, yeah, for sure. But
All right, last popcorn by the numbers. And I don't understand these, but I love saying them. Included among the American Film Institute's 2001 list of 400 movies nominated for the top 100 most heart-pounding American movies.
well, did it win, or was it
don't
just
know.
nominated?
I don't know.
Just given a nod.
I guess that's all the numbers I have. Is there anything we should talk about before we get into next week's popcorn spoiler area?
Do we say whether you should watch it on this one or
We
the
kind of
next
did.
one?
And should you watch this?
Yeah. Okay.
I think if all of those reasons that we mentioned, you
Yeah. If it sounds like your
then
thing.
you should watch it.
You've probably already seen it, in fact.
And probably, yeah, if you
Unlike
like
someone here.
Oh, that's true. Cole, why did you not see this?
Well, 'cause like I mentioned earlier, I'd always heard that it was Tony Scott. And at the time when I was going through my like Lethal Weapon Die Hard phase, I think it was up there, but something about like just the pairing, Christian Slater and Patricia Arquette, knowing, what they did afterwards, it just kind of seemed like a strange pairing.
She's in Medium, right? That's
Yeah,
it's
that's-
psychic procedural.
yeah.
Who?
Patricia Arquette.
Oh, she is?
She was on that NBC show where she was a psychic who helped solve crimes.
Oh,
Yeah. that's right.
I mean, actually, if you're a fan of that show, it's fine, and it's
But, like-
fine. I don't care.
all right.
Tony's, I think because I thought it was more Tony Scott and Tony Scott's early 90s with like Days of Thunder and this, it was either really cheese or really good. It was kind of hit and miss back and forth. And so it
just
wasn't
skipped
high
it.
up on the list. Yeah. And then I realized my boss would always talk about it at Cinemark with that speech with Hopper and Walken.
It's pretty great.
And he would always frame it as the best part of the show. And then since he would always, spoil what happens, my enthusiasm just kind of disappeared. But then hearing that this was, Tarantino was like having to decide between, or one of his first ones, is like, I got to see what this is all about. And it was really good. I loved it. It was suspenseful as heck at some parts.
There's some interesting trivia that I'll delve into next week about how Tarantino wrote this and how it came to be, and with Tony Scott and everything. And I think I like this. I like this movie, and I'll give our ratings obviously next week. But yeah, I think you should watch this for those reasons.
Yeah.
Any parting thoughts? All right, your silences speaks volumes. At this point, there may be some spoilers up ahead, so if you want to watch and then come back next week and join us for a breakdown of I Guess This Cocaine Is Now Ours from 1993. I'm on the social medias. I dare you to message the great Popcorn Priest at Popcorn Priest. I love movies and would love it if you'd share the love. Share this with the movie lover in your life. The best way to support the show is by giving me money. Please go to patreon.com/Popcorn Priest and see what extra perks you can enjoy. Lastly, the easiest way to support the show and the most free is like and subscribe and give us a 5-star review. Easier than stealing cocaine from the mob.
That's right.
As always, thanks for listening. And thanks to my special guests, Sail Away Tribe and Up in the Air Cole. Always a pleasure. Join us next week for part 2 of True Romance from 1993. We'll see you guys next week.